Welcome back. In this session, we'll talk about dot versus bracket notation. You will learn how to receive the data from objects and also how to change data into objects using the dot and bracket notation. So objects from the previous video, we'll just take this. So here we'll write console.log. See, here we got the output, and now in previous video you didn't see the output. We'll see the only difference here is the properties are arranged here alphabetically. Okay, the order doesn't matter, and we simply get the properties from object using the property name itself. That's the video about. So certainly we can do that in two ways, using the dot notation and using the bracket notation. So in the dot notation, this is very straightforward. Let's say we want to get the last name. Okay. See, as you can see, we got the output here. Now we can use the exact same type using the bracket notation. So as you can see, we got the output for bracket notation as well. So here the big difference between these two here is the bracket notation. We can put any expression that we like, so we don't have to explicitly write the string here, but instead we can also compute this for some operations, because an operation is basically an expression. So sometimes that produces a value, and so we can put that here inside the brackets. Let's actually try that. Imagine that we had a variable in which we store the repeating parts in first name and last name. So we have a name here in both. So let's store just that inside of a variable. For that, we'll go ahead and write constant name key here we'll use. We'll write name. As you can see, we got the output here. So now the same thing, we wouldn't work with the dot operator or dot notation. We can write like this. As you can see, it doesn't work. It gives the syntax error. So let's just go ahead and turn this off. Okay, and here error, it won't work in unexpected string. So that the reason why we don't need the brackets. So that's the reason why we need the brackets notation and dot notation. We have to use the real final property name and not a compound property name as this one here. Okay. So in what situations we have to use the dot notation, and when do we have to use the deep brackets notation? So we need to first compute the property name. We did here in the first and last name. Okay. Then of course we have to use the brackets notation in any other case. Use the dot notation. It looks like clean and easier to use. Now make the need for the brackets notation even more clear. Let's see example. Let's say we don't know which property to use. We want to show and instead get the information for some user's interface. So for that, we have to use the prompt function. Okay. Let's make prompt equals to what do you want to know about copy? Choose it. So let's go ahead and declare this prompt inside the variable. Let's console this. As you can see in our page, we get a prompt like this. Do you want to know about this? And here you can type. See, here we click job and we got the job here. So here, for example, let's say if we use the dot notation, it gives invalid here. It doesn't work. It doesn't give you output when we use the dot notation. See, it is invalid undefined. Okay. So this is something new to tell you about this here. When we try to access a property on an object that doesn't exist, so this load P doesn't have a property called interested in, right? So therefore, the result trying to access interested in load P is undefined. Okay. Instead of dot notation, we use the bracket notation because we can put any expression. So JavaScript will come here and replace the interested in. So you will get an idea about dot and bracket notation why we got the result for the dot. Let's go ahead and answer. Yeah, even though it is we are getting a undefined, right? So here we got for each. When we try to access not defined value in return as undefined, as per we know undefined is a false, right? And so now we can use that for our adventure now we can use that for our advantage now and create some logic that we will print a custom string whenever the user tries to access a property that doesn't exist. So we'll just write here the code. If failure later wrong because choose between this and this each keywords. So here we clear this. See here we got our output from undefined to limit here. Okay, that's an example here. Now you know how to retrieve elements from objects. Let's also learn how to use the both dot and bracket notation to add a new properties to the object. So when we want to add new properties to the object, let's go ahead and declare it. this. For example, location equals to India. Okay. And then we are using the both dot notation and bracket notation here. So see here, we got our output here. So here we just added location India and Twitter. We just added by using this dot and bracket notation here. So now here I have a challenge for you at the end of this video. So what I want you to do is now write a sentence like this, and one I am going to show you in a dynamic way. So here we have this challenge. So here, so Lohit has three friends and his best friend is called Michael. I want you to write this sentence without any hard coding any of these values. So what you need to get from object is Lohit 3 Michael. One hint I will give you is that you need to use multiple dots to get this number of friends. Now pause this video, get an idea of coding it and try to do it. Now let's go ahead and start writing the code. We want the value right, so we declare friends dot length. So we need to call the friends, right? So Michael is, so it is a string, right? In the string, if we want to, so it is an array kind, right? So what is the value here from Michael? It is 0, right? So we need to put 0. So for now, let's go ahead and remove this. So as you can see, we got our output. Now it has three friends and his best friend is called Michael. So now in terms of operator proceedings, let's quickly check out why it is actually works this way. So with the dots here, let's go ahead and open this Google Chrome here. So let's type MBN operator sentence. So when you get this, just scroll down to this bottom table. As you can see, uh, so here the dot notation is called members access. As you can see here, see dot notation is called members access here, and then the brackets notation which here is called computed members access. As you can see, it is a bracket notation. As you can see, they both have the higher priority here. So this rule is applied for everything and everything makes sense right now once you understand this. Okay. That's it for this video. I'll see you in the next video.